My bad on that one. That was a good call.
Yeah, you're like,
But it's
crushing. And I went,
Preston's first side. The outhouse is second. Going up. Let's go. Oh my God! Please take the server. Holy shit!
Warbird,
Up.
Hello, fellow Araxians. Well, guys, it's rough out there. It's double experience, so you obviously got to get out there and farm. But I gotta say, at Outfit Ops last night, which ended up getting called early due to lag, it felt like everyone was kind of just being like, why are we doing this to ourselves? Logging in night after night, it's kind of like, okay, this is it. I think there was a patch today. Maybe everything's good tonight. And then primetime rolls around, and it's the same exact thing as the night before. Rocking a solid 8,617 server ping there.
Someone's body just went in.
The corpses led the way on the charges, and good luck getting any of your bullets to register, let alone knifing.
Yo, is the server taking a shit right now?
Yeah, the route of spawn's on top.
yes.
It's like taking a huge shit for everybody?
Yes. Yes, it is.
And now this certainly isn't news or a surprise. We had all these same things on the test server for the test event. It seemed like it just sort of got chalked up to, hey, it's the test server and a test event. There's a lot of simultaneous server logins, and the server architecture itself is a little bit different than the live servers. So let's just roll the dice on it and hope it works out on live. But it obviously hasn't, as we've had complaints of server problems pretty much from every server most evenings. It seems like the best thing you can do is play at off-peak times. I've found that all the times I've run into major latency issues is really at prime time. Or if you are playing at prime time, like most people do, if you are fortunate enough to be on a server that allows 2 or 3 continents to be open, try playing on an off-continent. But even when it's not prime time and you're not dealing with all the latency issues, there's still plenty of things you gotta worry about. One of the most hilarious ones to me right now are grenades. EMPs are supposed to be near instant detonation, but right now it's just kind of like, who fucking knows? Okay, so I throw it. Normally it would have already exploded and I'd be charging it, but now I'm waiting. Are we ready? Can I go? Has it gone off? God damn it. The grenades that are rolling around on the floor, the indicators are so bad these days, they linger after the grenade has exploded. So you're always a little bit tense around them. Now before DirectX 11 with my settings, I could see grenade explosions. Whatever I've done now, I cannot actually see them. And grenade explosion seems to take twice as long. I can't tell you how many times I've died running over a grenade that I would have expected to have exploded by now, and just has their usual broken, lingering marker, but is way past their detonation time. Oh, and don't worry guys, in case you were concerned, ammo boxes existing in some weird anti-gravity dimension, still there on test server, and still there on live. In a way, they're sort of peaceful. Sometimes it's nice to just pause your hectic life on Araxis and watch the ammo boxes gently float by. Okay, so how did we get here? We are a week away from the patch, and while they've stabilized some of the server crashing issues, there's still a lot of latency issues. And it's not for lack of trying. DBG has been hard at work. I've even seen some of the Planetside Arena developers tweeting about how they're helping to try to correct some of the bugs that made it to live servers in Planetside. But the only explanation that I could see for a patch that is in this rough of shape to make it to live servers is this. I mentioned this chart in a previous video, and I'll dive into it a little more in detail now. Basically what we've seen is a precipitous drop in average player count since the announcement of Planetside Arena. Now we have had an unprecedented amount of double experience events over the past 6 months, some of those prior to Christmas of 2018 to try to make up for all of the server problems then. There's a few of these events early 2019 associated with holidays that were key to making sure populations didn't look even worse than what this chart shows. But even with all those measures, it was still looking bad, and I don't think they were willing to accept another month with a continued downward trend. By pushing this patch live within the month of April, even though it wasn't quite complete, they completely turned that trend around. So much so that April actually showed growth, and the forecast for May is looking really good. A quick note on these charts, you'll see I have a line for the Steam average players and the FISU average players. The problem with DBG's API is it goes down a lot. The result is that Fishu's numbers end up being inaccurate, nothing that his website has any control over. Steam, on the other hand, has perfect uptime. If players are playing Planetside 2 through Steam, it knows about it. From the times we do have good information, the relation between Steam and Fishu is surprisingly consistent. On average, 76% of the player base launches Planetside through Steam. So, the reason I include that trend line is we can get a rough estimate when DBG's API goes down of what the population was actually like based off of the Steam numbers, and mix that estimation with the Fishu numbers that include everyone, not just Steam users. So anyways, moving on. We are in the phase after the patch of the new hotness, and the key thing also is the double experience. That is what will really keep players logging in through all the bugs and all the server issues. So this double experience thing sort of creates an anomaly, where populations are absolutely going to be inflated higher than average. People won't play as much if that double experience wasn't available. So as we keep an eye on these population charts, we'll want to see especially what happens once the double XP goes away. Is this patch enough to really convince people not only to come check it out, but to stick around after the sort of hype phase? Or does it fall off quickly when the carrot, the double experience, is taken away? My own frustration has always been that it's basically a short-term solution, right? Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Hey, we need our numbers to look better right now. We need the revenues from NS Ops right now and the bundles we're going to be putting out. But the patch isn't really ready. But they push the patch anyways. They get some short-term gains, things look better. But at the same time, for the long-term outlook, everyone that comes by is just going to say, oh yeah, it's just Planetside, another bad patch. And the long-term result is less people sticking with the game that they otherwise would have if it had been a clean patch. And they don't really have the ability to leverage the hype created from something awesome like DirectX 11 because the polish of the patch is in such a bad state. Now, all my PlayStation 4 viewers have been feeling pretty left out lately, understandably, and that's because there's just not a lot to share right now. But I do keep track of the PlayStation 4 data as well. So for those that are curious, the red line here is the total average population in Planetside 2 on PlayStation 4 and PC. You can see back, especially just before the construction release, how PlayStation 4 had a very significant population of its own. Right now, it runs on average about 400 players across the entire platform. So guys, as I said, Daybreak Games is working hard to try to get this patch fixed. What we don't have yet are patch notes. That's because it's a lot of work to put them together for something that may just be a speculative fix. They even had to roll back some of those changes because it wasn't having the effect on performance they wanted. So at this point, it's kind of like they might as well just keep nose to the grindstone, keep working, try to get everything fixed, and then they can release one big list of patch notes of what went wrong, what they've been working on, all the changes that did go into it. Believe it or not, the whole double experience week is actually coming to an end. This weekend is the end of the double experience. I'm really hoping they have some of the major issues sorted by the end of the day so people can play through this weekend with the benefits of DirectX 11, but not hindered by all the problems in terms of latency and bugs on the servers. And finally, the last thing on my mind right now is a few people have approached me and said, hey, these other YouTubers got videos out. Why now is the time to play Planetside? Don't you feel like you're missing the boat? And in a sense, yes, those videos do very well. It's a very popular topic on YouTube. Traditionally, and the recent ones as well, those types of videos will net a lot of views. And along the same lines, people are like, hey, DBG, you got to spend money, you got to promote this thing. And to answer everyone on both those topics, to me, now is not the time. As I mentioned before, yes, do I think it's the best time to play Planetside? I think it's basically the last jumping in point. I don't expect there to ever be another content patch as big as this one. But I do feel like everything needs to be stabilized before you start hitting the hammer hard and saying, now is the time to play. To me, I kind of view the double XP week as this is what you get for being the beta testers. So they've got to get everything fixed on PC, get all the bugs fixed. The reason I showed the ammo packs earlier is because that's actually a leftover bug from OMFG. If you can believe it, that patch has lingered on that long. Is it the end of the world? No. Does it make Planetside look like a shitty, crappy, unpolished game? Yes. These little bugs that linger are death by 1,000 cuts for the game. And this patch here that introduced such a myriad of bugs, the Reddit list got up to 240 last time I checked. If the next few weeks, months are not about tracking every single one of those down and cleaning it all up, we are going to move on, just like we did in OMFG, with all these little cuts that never quite heal, that cut the game down a little bit further. So in my opinion, we need to focus on getting all those things fixed up, then finally give a little bit of love to the PlayStation 4, or just make a decision on it at least. Either say, hey, this is the end, transfer over, or say, hey, you're getting NSOps, you're getting the Ant for the orbital launch alerts, you're getting the Tengu Platinum. It's got to go either way. They either got to end it, or they got to spend some time giving PlayStation 4 some love, and then once things are stabilized here, then they're good on PlayStation 4, then it would be great if they'd spend a little bit of money and say, hey, DX11 is in, patch is stable, come out and play it, guys. The water's warm. Okay, that's all for now, fellow Araxians. I really want to dive a little more into performance, get really technical on it. I've got some good footage from just before the DirectX 11 patch with benchmarks on it. The problem I have right now is running on Ultra, that is overall graphics quality high right now, is blinding. The bloom is out of control. The sun just blasts you. It's basically uncomfortable to even play the game on that setting. And all my benchmarks before that were done on Ultra. So right now I'm playing on this weird mix of medium and low particles. It honestly looks like garbage at the moment, so sorry for any bad looking footage. But once they kind of get that addressed and I can comfortably play on the high settings again, I will take some real solid comparisons for you and we'll dive deeper into the technical aspects of DirectX 11. Until next time, fellow Araxians, I will see you Planetside.